you have a shop or a menu with a script inside each button, try creating a procedurally generated layout with just one script, duplicating a template and adjusting it as needed. Hi, this is a follow-up to this video where I said that, and I figured I would actually go through a demonstration on how to do that, because, just a time lapse of me programming it is not necessarily helpful. So this is what I've already got set up. There is a shop frame inside of just whatever screen GUI you need, and not much is important to note here, except you might want to look at like the sizes and everything to if you really want to match exactly what I'm doing. Inside of this is a template. Let me make this visible, and you've got a thumbnail and a purchase button and a title, which goes right there. And one thing you might want to note is that I have some margins around all of the content. It kind of helps to space things out. I can make this invisible again. So then in here is the local script. I just called mine Shop Manager, and I'm going to be walking you through how to procedurally generate a menu. Another thing I need to note is these two items in replicated storage. There's by thing, which is a remote event. It doesn't do anything, but it's just there for us to target, so we actually have something to do in our script once the player clicks the button. Then there's also this module script called items, and this just has a bunch of random decals and titles for them and actual variable names. The reason it's in replicated storage so the client and the server can access it at the same time. So Shop Manager, first thing we want to do is get the items, and module scripts use the require function. Next up we need the shop, then the template inside the shop. Now we need the remote that's in replicated storage. Now we need a function for what happens when a player decides to buy something. I'll call my function click, keep it simple. And I'm going to be passing in a name argument, which is the name of the item they're buying. So we want to print buying, then, well, I don't need to use toString here, and then the name, and then remote fire server with the name, or the variable name. And then on the server, it can handle the remote requests as needed and prompt an actual purchase to the player. So now comes the fun part, actually procedurally generating all the tiles. First thing I'll do is identify account and start that at 0, and then I want to loop through every single one of the items. First thing we're going to do is clone the template and parent it to the shop. And I actually want to do the parenting last because that makes it slightly faster for performance reasons. We can also do some other basic things like setting the name to the variable name, setting the visibility to true, and incrementing the count. So now let's set the title. We'll do new.title.text is equal to b.title. Because remember, if you look in the items module script, you can see that every item has an actual title and then it also has a thumbnail. So for the thumbnail, we want to do new.thumbnail.image equals rbx asset id / toString b.thumbnail. So now we want to detect when it's pressed. So we'll do new.purchase.mouse button 1 click connect function click, and then we will pass in the variable name to the click function, which goes right there. Also, this image right here is actually an image button, so we can make it so the same thing happens if you just click the image. Now I need to position it, and this is where a bit of math comes in, but I will just supply the math if you don't want to have to figure it out yourself. New.position equals udim2.new. So we know that the scale will be 0, the offset will be something, and then the y scale is 0, and then the y offset is something. The expression for y is that. So it figures out how many rows there are and multiplies that by 200 pixels. X is a little more complicated. I'll be honest, even I can't properly explain what it does. I spent like 20 minutes trying to get it to work, and that's what it is. And I'll paste it on its own right there if you want to copy it. So the final thing we need to do is set the actual canvas size because we have a scrolling frame. So I'm going to do shop.canvas size is equal to another udim2, add a bunch of zeros in there, and then replace that final 0 with more math. And this does something very similar to what happens up here, where it just figures out the amount of rows. And that's how it's done. If we start the game, theoretically, there it is. You can see we have all of our decals and the titles, and if we click purchase, we can go to output and see I indeed tried to buy the painting. You can buy floor plan, Thanos, Chip series, and there's all kinds of things. And the great thing about this is you can easily edit this, and you don't have to worry about in the future going through the long convoluted process of removing one of these things and repositioning all of the icons to make everything still fit. No, you just have a script that does it automatically for you. So I hope you found this helpful. Goodbye.